The 2.0 update has taken an interesting turn, to say the least. Behind me, you'll notice that I have opened the project that was supposed to be released on the 1st. So, what happened? Well, I was working on an almost finished version of Flippa Monsters, and I wasn't happy with the game. You see, to really truly tell you the core of why I wasn't happy with it, I have to take you back to the beginning of what Flippa Monsters was supposed to be. Flippa Monsters was born as an iteration from another game I was working on that was way beyond something I was able to do, and it was before even founding the studio. It was called Catch'em Creatures. Eventually, I had to change the scope when thinking of making a fully released title for my studio and something that I could be proud of releasing. What's up? I'm Ignatius Real, CEO of Your Soul Studio. It's ours if you have fun. And today, I want to tell you why multiplayer caused my game to completely restart for the 2.0 update. Let's get into it. To start, at its core, when I came up with Flippa Monsters and a version of Catch'em Creatures that I could create right at that moment, it had 3 things at its core that it needed to be. And that was so I couldn't allow scope creep to just steal my time away and thus making a game a monster out of me, allowing this game to destroy me, which so many developers do, and then they end up hating the project they're working on because scope creep be damned. So to avoid that issue, it was 3 things. 1, it had to be a card game. UI was something that we struggled with in the beginning, so we really wanted to make our studio's first game a UI-based game. 2, it had to be a spin on memory. Memory is a simple enough game that anyone can play, and something that I've always found intriguing is taking something simple and making it a bit more complex and just revamping it into something brand new out of a simple concept. It's just something I've always found fascinating, and that we will be doing with many, many other simple arcade games that were born out of generational limitations from back in the 19s. I say back in the 19s, like my fucking birth year doesn't start with a 19. And 3, it had to be multiplayer. You might notice one of those things is lacking in the current version of Flippa Monsters 1.2, and that is, it's not multiplayer. And that's always something that didn't set well with me, because it was originally supposed to be a game I was trying to design for my friends and I to play. A 4-player game I wanted to design for my friends and I to play. So the fact that the multiplayer aspect had to just be gotten rid of because I simply didn't know what I was doing was a complete downer. Now, with Unity's new input system, we're very well versed with it. We've gotten quite familiar with it with our project Fathers in the Maze, which is actually completely free and out and playable right now. There's also a feedback survey, so please, 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 if you play the game, take like a minute or 2 to fill out the fan feedback survey, because that tells us what we want to do better and what we want to do next with our future projects, especially when it comes to dipping our toes in horror, because this is also our first horror game. It's a corn maze horror game, pixel art to be specific, and it gives an arcade haunted vibe that we just love and we'd like to dive more into in the future. Go ahead and play Fathers in the Maze. It took like about a month to finish. It's mainly a movement demo, just what we know we can do with movement, what we know what we can do with AI, and just showing off what we can do with that. And it's pretty cool. You have to get through the corn maze, find your father, while also not getting too close to strangers. Stranger danger. No, they turn into like fucking 2-headed monsters and go rah, 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 rah. The Tree of Moonlight is my wife and I's family Discord. It's born from a passion and a love for just all things video games. She's a Twitch streamer, and she also uploads shorts on YouTube and TikTok. So all you gotta do is, after you join, is you gotta interact with the Who Brought You Here channel and say what kind of content you want to be seeing in this Discord, because we don't want to show you anything you're not interested in. If you're not interested in game development, then you'll say, hey, I'm here for the spores. That's her. And if you are interested in game development, you say, hey, I'm a part of the Soul fam. That's us. And if you're interested in a little bit of both, you interact with both. And all that does is it just opens up more of the Discord and it allows you to see all the different branches. But fear not, you need not choose both if you do not want to. There is a library branch where all of the members will be able to interact together. And it is meant specifically so the members can interact together, because we're trying to cultivate a community of just little nerds of the Alphabet Mafia or allies that just love video games, either creating them, creating things for them, content for it, or just playing them. We just love video games and we're just trying to find more people just like us. So go ahead and join the Discord. And not to mention, you join our Discord, under the Your Soul branch, that's my branch, you'll be able to see all things Your Soul Studio, whether that's new games, new videos, or a Dev Diary channel where we just upload regularly about what we're currently working on that day, what got done that day, and sometimes even little sneak screenshots and GIFs or videos of upcoming content that nobody else will see first, even before here on YouTube. So go ahead and join that if you're feeling spicy. I know you can do it. Alright, back to the video. Flip-A-Monsters 2.0, or as I've been calling it, Flip-A-Mon. In fact, I want to know your guys' opinion on that. I've been thinking about changing the game's name to Flip-A-Mon from Flip-A-Monsters. I just feel like it rolls off the tongue more, and it represents the quick nature I want the game to feel. I can't quite make a finite decision. I feel like Flip-A-Mon is also shorter, which would make it easier to find in a search algorithm. And I just want to know your guys' personal opinion. Which one do you like better? Flip-A-Monsters or Flip-A-Mon? Tell me in the comments. Because, you know, we're really torn on the decision ourselves. I myself really like Flip-A-Mon, so we will see what happens to the future of the game and the name. But right now, we've just been calling it Project Flip-Mon, which now is a 2-player board and card game where you have to roll a die and move up to 6 spaces around the screen, where you get to pick one of the matched cards. And you might be wondering, how will you know if they're all face down? Well, at the very, very start, they'll all be uncovered and shown to you. This was a project that I started literally on the first. I trashed the old project because I was working on it and I was just truly, truly unhappy with it. And so on the first, I started what Flip-A-Monsters truly is supposed to be. At its core, 3 things: a card game, a twist on memory, and multiplayer. It's actually going to be reverse memory. You'll be shown the cards at the very beginning of the game for a certain amount of seconds, and then they'll be flipped back down. And at that point, you'll take turns. Player 1 will go up to 6 spaces, they'll roll a die up to 6 spaces, and they'll move. If they get a card, they'll then have that card. But you might be wondering, can you take cards from each other? In fact, yeah, it's going to be called dueling. You'll be able to duel your opponent for their card, but only the person with a higher power monster wins. And if you have a match, you can pull that match out and place that in the duel instead of risking the face down card. The loser of the duel loses their card and it goes back on the board. If you choose to fight with your matched card, then the card that you previously had goes back on the board, and you automatically are forfeiting your chance to have that card in the future. So make a wise decision when choosing to use a matched pair from your inventory. Not to mention, if the other player wins, they get your matched pair. So choose wisely. And that's the thing. Wise decisions was at this core the biggest feedback we got for this game, is it felt like it was a strategic game confused. The clicker aspect was just something that didn't go well with the fans. It was just lost. It didn't make sense, and it just took away from the strategy aspect that the game felt like it should have had from the beginning. Making a board and card game gives it that strategy that the fans had previously given us the feedback about. It also gives us the chance to make it 2 players, so I'm super excited to introduce you to the 2.0 version of the game, which will not be altering the price tag at all, and all of the assets that are created for this board game are going to be added to the Flip-A-Monsters asset pack on itch.io. That price tag will not be affected at all either, so do not fret. The game will be staying $3, the assets will be staying $1. The only thing that's going to be better is the gameplay, and it's going to be something that reflects what a 2.0 update really could and should be for this game. That's it. I don't have a lot to show you guys. I have a lot of work to get to. So I just wanted to get content out there. I wanted to show you guys what we're up to. I'm super excited, and I wanted to explain to you guys why we had to restart the 2.0 update instead of releasing it on the 1st, because oh boy, was it a doozy. So interact. Ooh. Peace. Subscribe for the cute beans. Beans, 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 beans. Where's the last bean? Where'd she bean? She's a bean in a box. A bean in a box.